Hello, friends. Once again, it's an exclusive night in conversation with Derek Angels. Tonight, we have a man who has left his footprints in the history of world heavyweight boxing. In his archives, I have seen him with Floyd Patterson, the all time great Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray, Lennox Lewis, Smoking Joe Frazier, Jake LaMotta. Above all, one of his best friend, the great legendary Mike Tyson. And yes, he is a very dear friend of our family too. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the toughest white man on planet, Joe Egan.
Derek, thank you
Welcome,
for that
Joe.
lovely. Derek, thank you for that lovely introduction. I just want to clarify something. I sparred with Mike Tyson for nearly 2 years, and he
Right,
battered me many times. He made me cry many times. This particular day, there was four white sparring partners. Normally, there would be some black guys, but this particular day, there was four white sparring partners, and he knocked three of them out. I was number four, and I got
right,
battered from pillar to post, but he never put me down. And at the end of the sparring session, Mike Tyson said, Joe Egan is the toughest white man on the planet. Far from it. I was the toughest white man in the gym that day. But what a great compliment from a man like Mike Tyson.
very,
You know,
very
it
true.
was an honor. It was an honor to share the ring with Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, because every fighter, Derek, that climbs into the boxing ring dreams about becoming a champion of the world. I wasn't good
Right.
enough to become a champion of the world. I tried my hardest. I really put a lot of effort into boxing, but unfortunately, I wasn't good enough. But if you're going to get battered, Derek, you might as well get battered by the best. I got battered by the best in my era, Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis, and I stayed on my feet. I never got put down by either of them, and it was a major achievement. But I won seven Irish boxing titles, which to me, being Irish, Ireland was like my world. So I won a
Right.
mini version of a world title by winning the Irish title.
But Joe, one thing I must add here, once a boxer, always a boxer. Boxing always stay in within you,
Yes,
and that helps you to come back in life, get back in life. It never lets you stay on that floor.
it's the greatest sport in the world.
Right,
You go anywhere in the world, Derek. I've been all over the world. I boxed all over the world, and I've met fighters from all over the world. You go to the remotest parts of Africa, the remotest parts of Asia, the remotest parts of any corner of the world. They might not be kicking a football, they might not be bouncing a basketball, but there'll be a kid punching a bag. Boxing is the most cosmopolitan sport in the world. And being an ex fighter, I love the sport, I love the boxers, and being biased, I think it's the greatest sport in the world. If you ask any athlete, any American football player, any rugby player, any basketball player, any soccer player, what
right,
athlete they admire most? Most athletes admire fighters because you play football, you play basketball, you play golf, you play tennis. You don't play boxing. It's not a game. You know, men and women walk to the ring and they fight. They
right,
touch after the fight. Boxing gives you first and foremost self-respect. Then it
right,
gives you respect for your opponent. And that is one of the most important things in life, having self-respect and respect for others. And that's what boxing instills in you. And it helped me in life. I experienced a lot of bullying when I was a child. You
mhm,
know, my dad worked on the building sites in England, and we
right,
left Ireland to come and join my dad in England. And I got bullied because I had the English accent. So I picked up I got bullied because I had the Irish accent. So I
right,
picked up the English accent, and when I went home to Dublin, I got bullied in Dublin in Ireland because I had the English
right,
accent. So I learned how to fight. I learned how to box. I learned how to defend myself. I have four younger sisters and four younger brothers, so I had to defend them as well. And
right,
that's what boxing done for me. It made me tough. It toughened me up for the obstacles that life throws at you. Because if you can walk into that boxing ring, Derek, and fight another person, nothing in life will phase you. You know,
Right.
I've been very, very fortunate. The men that I've shared the ring with have helped me become the man I am today.
That's very fortunate, Joe. That's very, very fortunate. Joe, let me take a little back in time. Tell me your experience. When you say, when any personality on this planet, when they embrace their national flag, and for you it was the Irish flag, the
Oh,
first time.
Derek,
Tell me.
when you get to represent your country, you get
Right,
to represent your country in any of your
right,
chosen sports or any of your chosen fields that you pursue in life, and you get to represent to win your national title, to have your
right.
arm raised as your national champion, and no matter what sport or no matter
Exactly.
what field of life you choose, to become your national champion is fantastic. But then to represent your country against other countries' national champions, it's the most beautiful feeling. And when they play the national anthem and you're standing there, the pride flows through you like the blood flows through you. You know,
True.
it's just you
True.
ooze pride. And win, lose, or draw, you've got to give the best you can be and hope that you can win. But the
Of
fact
course.
that you've got to that stage to represent your country, that is a major stage to perform on. And I represented Ireland on 13 occasions. I won a
Right,
bronze medal. I won a bronze medal in the Acropolis Games, which is a world international ranking tournament. I beat an Italian. I beat a Canadian, two national champions, and I lost to the Greek, who went on to win the gold medal. So I
right.
won a bronze medal, and he went on to win the gold. So I lost to the eventual gold medalist. But like I say, to hear the national anthem played,
Exactly.
it's such a beautiful feeling. It's very
Right.
emotional. The first time I boxed for Ireland, I actually boxed against England. I was only 17, and I was a young boy
Yeah.
fighting a 25-year-old man, and he beat me. And it was hard to accept because of the rivalry between Ireland and England. It's like the
Right.
rivalry between India and Pakistan.
That's
You
right.
know, there is
Yeah.
rivalry. It's still only a sport, but there's rivalry. And of all the countries that I wanted to beat and win my fight
Right.
against was England. I lost twice to England. I beat Italians, I beat Canadians, I beat Americans, I beat Welsh, I beat Polish, but I lost twice to England. And it's
Oh,
it's the rival. Even though I live in England, I love England. You know, I've been in this country
yeah.
26
Because
years, and I love England. I've got a great life here, and England's a great country. But I'm still Irish, and we have that rivalry.
see, this is a beauty. This is what when I speak to youngsters, I just tell them one thing. Um, you guys keep talking about, what the country has done, what the country has done. I said, one time you represent the country in any fraternity on this planet, and you see the feeling, you see your blood rush through,
Yes.
and your, chest comes out with pride, and your head goes
Oh,
up.
yes.
You feel great. You feel on the top of the world. You feel as if the entire country is like, supporting you, kind of. You're on top of the world. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a
That's
great feeling.
exactly how it feels. That's exactly how it feels. To walk in and represent your country. I did it on 13 occasions. And like I said, the pride flowed through me like the blood flowed through me. And I was oozing pride. And I tried my best. I tried my best. I try my best in whatever I do, Derek, because that
Very true.
is all that can be asked of anyone, is to try your best
Of
and
course.
enjoy what you do. Try your best and enjoy what you do.
And Joe, about your book, when we see the cover of your book, that's the young Joe out there.
That was
And
30 years ago. That was 30 years
exactly,
ago.
exactly. And being on there, getting your book out at that age is another level of,
When
happiness
when
and pride.
oh, that's a copy of the book there. That's
Yes, right,
an old a 30 where's the camera?
right.
30
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, that's
I
right.
just finished sparring.
Yeah,
And I put my headgear off, so my hair was spiky. But 30
right,
years ago, and I just finished sparring one of my best friends, a guy called Steve Dawson. And
right.
I spoke to Steve, funny enough, yesterday on the phone.
Hmm.
And me and him used to box together all the time. And we're best friends. I boxed a few of my friends over the years, and I
Right.
sparred with a few of my friends over the years. And Mike Tyson is my friend. He's been my friend nearly 40 years now.
That's right.
I've
Yeah.
been friends with Mike 37 years, Derek, and I'm very proud to say he's my friend.
Yeah, he's been a great guy, and what I also know about Mike Tyson is, like, even he has this soft corner and a passion for children as well, and these are the things which connect us, Joe. Passion.
Mike is a gentle soul. I know he has had hard times. Hard times make for hard people. I'm going to tell you a little story now, Derek. This will tell you a little bit of Mike Tyson. Mike used to speak to my mother on the phone, and I was in the Catskills with Mike. And he used to speak to my mum on the phone, and she used to say, "Oh, Mike, thank you so much for looking after my son, Joe." Mike
Right.
was battering me week in, week out, but I was earning money, and the money I earned, I used to send home to Ireland to help shape my brothers and sisters' lives. That's what the Irish do. They go away, they work, and they send the money home. Anyway, after 22 years of speaking to my mother on the phone, Mike
Mm,
said to me this particular day, he said, "Joe, how's your mother doing?" I said, "She's not so good, Mike. She's had a lump removed from her neck. We're very
mm,
concerned it might be cancer. Her brother died of cancer at 47, and we're
mm,
just worried." Anyway, Mike said, "Joe, let's go and see our mother." So we flew into Dublin, me and Mike Tyson and Scott
mm,
Welch, who had fought for the world heavyweight title. And my mother had been released from hospital because there was an infection in the hospital of
mm,
MRSA bug, and they released her from the hospital, and she was staying with her sister. So we went to the house with Mike, with Scott Welch, and Mike Tyson embraced a fragile woman in his arms. Now, this is a man that can break
right.
bones with punches, Derek. This man has
Yes.
knocked out heavyweight champions of the world. He
Right.
battered me, so I know the power in this man. And yet he embraced an old woman, fragile woman, in his arms, as gentle as you could possibly imagine. Anyway, they started chatting about different things. And my mum's birthday is the 12th of July, and Mike's birthday is the 30th of June. So they were both of the same birth sign, which is Cancer. So
Right.
my mum said to Mike, she said, "Oh, it's wonderful to celebrate birthdays." And he said,
Right.
"Mrs. Egan," he said, "I remember on my 18th birthday." Now, I'd been with Mike when he was 17. He said, "I
Yeah.
remember on my 18th birthday," which at that time was 22 years previous. He said, "You sent
Right.
me some presents. You sent me a shoebox with some
Yeah.
potato chips in the shoebox, which would have been Irish potato crisps." He said, "Some sweatshirts. There would have been second-hand sweatshirts, and
Hmm.
some money in an envelope. It would have been very little money." Now, that was
Right.
22 years previous. And my
Got it.
mother said, "Mike Tyson, you remember that, Mike, 22 years before?" He said, "Mrs. Egan, very few people have given me anything in my life." Yes, I
Right.
remember that. Anyway, Scott Welch got choked up. He had to leave the room. I started crying. This is a man that could have been a billionaire athlete, right?
Right.
Remembering a couple of packets of crisps, a couple of pound in an envelope, and a couple of second-hand sweatshirts 22 years before. And I started crying, and he looked at me, he goes, "Joe, man, you're always crying." He made me cry so many times. And he embraced my mum. And I just thought to myself, this man could have been a billionaire athlete to remember something so
Mm,
simple, but that meant so much to him. Can you
sure.
remember what you got 22 years ago, Derek, for a present? I can't. I can't
Exactly.
remember what I got 22 years ago. And if
I
you
got
ask
it.
the average man on the street, he wouldn't be able to tell you what he got 22 years ago. But for
Right.
Mike Tyson, a man of his esteem, a man of his reputation, a man of his success, to be able to remember something so simple that meant so much to him.
This is amazing insight, Joe. I keep telling the youngsters, I keep telling people, it is very easy to comment about people. It is always easy to show people down, but get into the life of people and see how they started, where they are, and where they've reached. There's something we all have to learn. It's something we all have to, look upon to these examples. That's just another level of life one has to. And also, last when we spoke about change your life, put down the knife,
Yes.
Joe, I'll tell you, it touched me so deep, and I know you're so busy. I wanted to touch base with you on this. Could you tell us more about this? Because I have loads of, children out here where I would love to introduce them to this project of yours that you've been
Thing
supporting.
is, at this moment in time in the UK, I don't know what it's like in India, but at
Right,
this moment in the UK, there is a
right,
lot of knife crime. There's a bad knife crime epidemic. There's been a lot of
right,
people stabbed to
mhm,
death. Young people, even
right.
women, have been stabbed to death over the last 18 months. It's
Mhm,
quite horrific. Anyway, just over a year ago, I had a very good friend of mine, a man called Simon Jones, stabbed to death in
oh,
Derby in the UK, trying to protect his van. God rest Simon. And it just it hit me very, very hard, Derek. And the thing
right,
is, I've
right,
tried I've tried my best now to prevent knife crime, to encourage people to put down the knives, because when you kill somebody, there's no going back, and the
right,
knock-on effect of the family, the mother, the father, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the friends. I know how much I suffered when I lost my friend. I can't imagine the pain that his partner, that his mother and father went through, his brothers and sisters, his children.
oh,
I can't imagine the pain that they went through, because I know the pain I went through, and they went through a lot worse than what I went through. So I am trying my level best to try and stop this knife crime epidemic,
right.
because if I can make a difference and save one life, it's made a difference.
Very
One
true.
life, and that's what we've got to try and do. In the UK, it's very bad at the moment, very, very bad with knife crime, and it's sad really, because the young people, they haven't even started to live a life yet.
Right.
You know, teenagers, and their lives are being took before they've even started to experience life, enjoy life, and it's leaving so much sadness. I know the sadness I've gone through over the last year and a bit, so I know what I've suffered, and I'm trying my level best. I'm trying my level best to make a difference, Derek. That's all we can all do is try. And I'm involved with a lot of anti-knife crime charities. I'm involved with
Right.
a lot of charities. I try
Mm,
to be the best I can be. I've been very fortunate in life that the boxing has given me a bit of a platform for people to hear what I've got to say. Mike Tyson launching my book in Canary Wharf, it made me a little bit of to get known. People say,
right.
Joe, you're a celebrity. I don't see myself as a celebrity. I'm very fortunate that Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis have helped me get a platform to be
Right.
able to tell people. And there's a lot of wonderful things have happened in my life. There's been a lot of hardship as well, Derek, but I think you have to experience hard
Right.
times to appreciate good times.
The good
And
times. That's right.
I've had a lot of hard times. I've had a lot of hardship growing up. We had very little when I was growing up. There were seven of us. My dad worked,
Right.
but it was very hard to have any luxuries. We had the basics, but we enjoyed what we had. I had my brothers and sisters to keep me company, and we were never lonely.
Mhm.
Loneliness must be a hard thing to suffer. People say the boxing ring is a lonely place. I was never lonely in the boxing ring, because there was always somebody hitting me, so I was never lonely.
I got a lot of people.
and so the thing is, I was very, very lucky with my brothers and sisters growing up. Even though, like I said, we had hard times, we still made the best, and we tried to make them good times.
Of course, we
And
have to, Joe. We have
we
to. And
have
and
to,
there's a
we have,
reason. Yeah.
we have
And there's
to.
a reason we
And
came
the
up with
thing is,
this. Yeah.
Derek, that there's a lot worse off than me. You know, I've
Yeah. Yeah.
seen I've seen a lot of poverty around the world. We hadn't got much, but a lot more than a lot of people in the world. And like my dad used to say, but for the grace of God go I. You know, things could
Right.
have been worse for me. There was a lot of people worse off than me. And I try to help now with people around the world as best I can. I've helped people in India, I've helped people in America, I've helped people in Europe, I've helped people in Asia, I've helped as best I can. And the boxing has given me that platform. The success of the
That's
book and with Mike Tyson has given me a platform to be able to do these things. And I'm very proud and very privileged to be able to do it.
See that's what that's how we all are connected together, Joe. When we
Yes,
also had a conversation, I told you about this 1.2 million children's mental well-being project. So
yes,
this is where we are getting to. The moment we see that, especially now during the pandemic,
yes,
the things happening, we know once things open up slowly and gradually, once they come out, there's so much of unemployment, there's so much of uncertainty. We are going all out there to help them so that their emotional well-being is taken care of. So the first project we have come up is with 1.2 million. We have set a target
wow,
to cater to
fantastic.
minimum
Wow,
a
that's
year,
amazing.
and this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. This small stone rolling out there, and I want to thank you so much for supporting this as well, Joe.
My
It
absolute
makes,
pleasure. My
it
absolute
means a
pleasure.
big
Children, Derek, children are our future.
right,
Children
right,
are our future. We have to look after our children because children are very vulnerable because they are children. It's easy to defend yourself and to cope as you're an adult. But when you're a
right,
child, you're vulnerable and your vulnerability needs to be protected. Do you understand?
right,
Children have to be protected, have to be
true.
cared for and looked after, and that's so important to look after our children in the world.
Very true. Now, Joe, moving a little ahead, the viewers are very much interested in knowing about Joe Egan as an actor, and many
Okay.
of them have seen your films and series, and they also want to know what is your upcoming project.
Well, I've just very fortunately got into the acting with Cass Pennant, the man that published my book. He gave me a part in his movie called Cass, and I get to play the landlord of a pub in the movie. And when I was on the film set, an actor called Tamer Hassan, he gave me a great praise. He said, "Joe, you've got a great presence on screen." He said,
Right,
"Would you fancy an acting career?" I said, "I'd give it a go." Anyway, he introduced me to his agent. His agent sent me along for the audition for the first Sherlock Holmes film to play a character called Mac Murdo. Anyway, I did the audition. I got the part. I went along to the read-through and carriages with Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, Rachel McAdams, Eddie Marson, sitting
right,
opposite Guy Ritchie, Joel Silver, the CEO of Warner Brothers. And Guy said, "Joe, I've been trying to get you in one of my films for a long time." I went, "Really?" And Robert Downey Jr. leaned in. This is Iron Man. And he said,
right,
"Joe, you come with a fearsome reputation." I couldn't believe that these people even knew me, Derek, but they knew me through Mike Tyson. Anyway, we travelled down in the minibus to do the practice fight. And Guy said, "How are things going, Joe?" I said, "Things are okay, Guy. I'm making ends meet." He said, "Has your agent told you how much you're getting for the fight scene?" I said,
mm,
"Guy, I never even asked. I'm just honoured to be in your film." Derek, when he told me how much I was getting for the fight scene, it was more than I got in any of my professional fights. And I was
okay,
deadly serious. I said, "Guy, for that money," I said, "Robert Downey Jr. can really hit me. You can kick me as well if you want to." Anyway, he
yeah,
took a fit of laughing and he said,
right,
"Joe, I don't want you being beaten up." I said, "Guy, I've been beaten
mhm,
up for a lot less. I do a few weeks in hospital for that money." And then since the success of the Sherlock Holmes film, I got to do
right,
Sherlock Holmes 2, and I've
mhm,
done nearly 60 movies now. I've worked on 3 Bollywood films. I've worked with Shah Rukh Khan on Ra
yeah,
1. I
right,
worked with Satilda Sataj on The Black Prince, and I've most recently worked with Jackie Shroff on Furky. And
right,
in between, I've done a few American films, I've done a few British films, and the parts are getting bigger with experience. I've worked with 3 Academy Award winning actors, and
wow,
recently I was filming yesterday and Sunday on a movie down in Brighton, which is on the coast of the UK. And I got to play a different part than I normally play because normally I get to play the tough guy or the gangster. But this
yeah,
time I got to play the manager of a nightclub, and it was a softer part, And the
right,
director and the other actor said I did very well because I've got such a menacing presence. To play the tough guy is quite easy. I'm not that I'm a great actor, but I've had to live, I've had to live the life, I've had to live the life of a tough guy, Derek.
right,
And to play the part of a tough guy on screen is quite easy because it's all about believability. And I've most recently, I did a music video a couple of
mhm,
weeks ago, and I've
okay,
recently just landed a part. I finished the film there. Done a few movies last year with Vinnie Jones. Um, I've worked with some big stars. I'm on a few Netflix, Sky Movies, Avengement,
Right.
Vengeance, Retaliation, King Arthur and the Knights of Camelot, Escape from Dunkirk, a war film. I've done some good movies the last few years, but now recently I've just landed my biggest
Mhm.
role to date. I've just landed a big American film with two big stars. A man called Kim Coates, who's an
Okay.
American star from The Sons of Anarchy, and
Mhm.
one of the last films I saw before COVID was Fantasy Island. Is
Okay.
the star of that, and he's a massive star. And a British star called Malcolm McDowell, and I've just landed a major role in this film, playing the bodyguard to Kim Coates. So I'm very, very happy. This will open a lot of doors for me, Derek, and
I'm
this will
sure.
give
I'm
me
sure
a great boost. But
it
like I
will.
said, the parts are getting bigger with experience. My mother is very, very proud of my acting. My dad, he enjoyed my boxing. My mother never wanted me to box. No mother wants to see her son being beaten up. But
That's right.
I'm very fortunate now. I've got a whole new chapter to my life, and the acting is is um, is starting to take off. I just want to get a battery for this. Got a proper battery. The acting is starting to really take off. I'm glad to say, and
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. It's long days. You're on set a lot of
You've got
hours. You might
to
you
do
might you
that.
might go there at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're still there at 10 o'clock at night, and you might only get to shoot a couple of minutes scene,
Right.
but it's making my mother happy. I'm enjoying it, and at the end of the day, if you enjoy what you do, it doesn't seem like work.
Of course, of course. I remember, when we met at my place back in India when you had come down.
Yes, I enjoyed coming to your home.
Yeah,
I, I
it was
enjoyed
so
coming to your home.
beautiful. And my little one was asking,
Very
when is
welcome.
Joe coming?
Yeah,
So any plan,
I
Joe?
hope to be in India. I hope to be in India. I was planning because I
Mhm.
work for a company called the Ambi Medical Group, and my bosses Sandy Patel and Shailash
Yeah,
Ravel. Shailash is a former Indian cricket star. He played
right.
professional for Surrey, and Shailash and Sandeep introduced me to India a few years ago, and I loved my time in India. We've been over 4 or 5 times now, and like I said, I've worked on
Right.
Bollywood films. But the Irish have such a great rapport with the Indian people. Up until recently, the Irish Prime Minister and Taoiseach was a man
Yeah.
called Leo Varadkar, whose father was a Sikh doctor and his mother was an Irish nurse. So the Prime Minister of Ireland was of Indian descent. He was an Indian man.
Right.
And the Irish have had such a great rapport with the Indian people. But I loved my times in India. Sandeep has brought me over and Charlotte has brought me over as a representative of the Ambi Medical Group. And while I was there, I met a man, Mr. Zota, who has
Hmm.
Zota medicines and Zota protein. And him
Right.
and his son, Mahesh, I met them at a big award ceremony, and they gave me the prestige honor of being an ambassador for their company. And there's a man called Kapil Dev, who's the Indian cricket legend,
Right.
who is another ambassador for their company. So I'm on a platform now in India as an ambassador for a company called Zota Protein alongside Kapil Dev, who I'm sure you know is the Indian cricket legend. And how prestigious is that for me, to be. I was there recently. I was
An
there
honor.
recently in March, and I was having a photo shoot on. I was hoping to see Kapil Dev, but he was attending an event with the President of America. So that's the stature of this man in India, that the President of America wanted to see him. So
That's right.
unfortunately, I never got to meet him that day when I was over doing the photos for Zota Protein. But I'll be over again soon. Sandeep and Shailash have said that hopefully early next year. Unfortunately, this year, because of what's happening, and I believe it's very, very bad in India, and please God, it's over soon, that we have no more deaths. I want it to
Yeah.
be over.
Everything.
This COVID has affected so many people around the world.
I
But
was
when
Sandeep last month, and I was asking the same thing, and he said, "Derek, let's see when this pandemic gets through, and then we look ahead of coming down here. So
He's a
let's see when."
wonderful man. I've worked for him
Yeah,
now for
yeah,
I've worked for him now for over 10 years, and I'm very proud to
right,
say he's not just my boss. He's my friend, and
right,
Shailash is the same. He's my friend. It's the most wonderful feeling because they give me time off with the acting. They give me time off whenever I need it, and they've looked after me. And I'm very proud to represent his company. He's been over to visit my mother, and I remember one time. when I brought him to meet my mum, I said, "Mum, this is my boss," and introduced Shailesh and Sandeep, and she said, "They're too young to be your bosses." I said, and she said, "They're very handsome," you know. So they were both got compliments. But Shailesh, he played, like I said, he played professional cricket for Surrey. He
Right.
played at the highest level of cricket,
Mhm.
and he's friends with a lot of Indian stars. And when I worked on the film with Jackie Shroff, right? This is a funny
Right.
story, Derek. A very funny story. In the script, I was Jackie's number one bodyguard. So
Okay.
in the script, I jump in front of Jackie and save him from the enemy, but I get
Right.
killed in doing so in the film. So I was
Mm-hmm.
speaking to Shailesh, and I said, "Shailesh, I said, I'm working with Jackie Shroff." He said, "Oh, Joe, Jackie's my friend." He said, "Tell
Mm-hmm.
him I said hello." So when I was on the set, I said, "Hello, Jackie." I said, "Lovely to meet you." I said, "Joe Egan." "Hello, Joe." I said, "Shailesh said to say hello and send his regards." "Oh," he said, "that's very nice." And away he went. So I spoke to Shailesh later on. He said, "What did Jackie say?" "Oh," he said, "that's very nice." "Is that all?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got to come and see him." So the next day, Shailesh and Sandeep arrive on the set. Now, this is a £10 million movie. And Shailesh and Sandeep arrived on the movie set. And Jackie Shroff jumped up. He goes, "Shailesh, my boyhood friend." Next of all, they embraced. And he looked at me. He said, "You never told me it was this Shailesh." I didn't know. Anyway, he goes, "Stop production, stop production." Anyway, the
Right.
stunt team, who'd never worked on a Bollywood film,
Mm.
they said to me, they
Right.
said, "Joe, this is a £10 million production. And the star of the movie is just stopping the filming so he can go out with his friend." Anyway, the next day, Jackie arrived on the set and he said to the director, he said, "Joe doesn't get killed in this film." He said, "Just in case we make part two, Joe just gets wounded. So in the film, I
Right.
get wounded. I don't get killed." So I said
Wow.
to I said to Shailesh, "You saved my life in this film." So it was funny. It was funny. But they're great guys. They're my personal friends. They visited my mother in Ireland, and they visited my dad in the UK, and they know my family, and very proud to be able to say that I
Mm-hmm.
work for them, but also proud to say that are my friends. And they've introduced me to India. I've made so many friends in India, you being one. And I loved my time in India, and I'm looking forward to more time in India. I'm looking forward to
That's it.
doing more Bollywood films. If there's anybody watching this interview that has any influence in Bollywood, please put me forward, as I enjoy doing the Bollywood films. I enjoy doing all
Uh,
the films, but Bollywood in
Joe,
particular.
the kids out here, the people out here, the viewers are asking, would you be interacting with the Indian boxers when you come the next time?
Oh yes, yes. I went to a man called Akhilesh. He invited
Okay.
me to his gym, and I went to
Right.
Akhilesh's gym, and I met people
Okay.
in the gym. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're on the same wavelength,
Right.
you're training, and then you want
Sure.
to find out what particular sport you want to pursue. If I can help any Indian boxers, if I can give advice, I've had a couple of Indian boxers that I've spoke to that were representing India in the Commonwealth Games, and I gave
Right.
them advice and contacts to go professional. There's
Hmm.
a couple of great fighters have come out of India recently.
That's
They've
right.
been. It's a great tradition in India. The boxing is strong in India.
It is. It is.
But if I can
The
help any amateur boxing club, please get in touch. Through Instagram or Twitter. Um,
sure.
I have agents. I'm not very good at social media. I'm not computer
I'll
literate.
I'll help them to connect with you, Joe. I'll help them to connect with
Please
you.
get them to
That-
contact through Instagram or
Yeah.
through Twitter or through Facebook, or what I've got Facebook fan page. I've got Instagram, Twitter. Um, my agents do all my social media, but
Sure.
I keep in touch around the world through the internet, through the boxing. I've done interviews, and I've had interviews from different parts of the world through the boxing. And we're all part of one big family, whether you're a
Yes.
fighter or now as a fight fan, as a boxing fan, because my boxing days are over, but I still am a fan of the sport. I love the sport, Derek. I love meeting fighters. I love listening to their stories, because most fighters' stories are the same, because fighters have such humble beginnings. If you
True.
come
True.
from wealth, you don't tend to fight. You tend to go into
Right.
sports that come from money. But when you have very little, very humble beginnings, you tend to fight to try and make a better life for yourself. And boxers have made better lives for themselves through the sports. I remember when I was with Mike Tyson one day and I bumped into a friend of mine in America, and he said, "Joe, I remember when you had nothing." And I looked at him and I said, "You don't remember it as well as I remember it, because I had such hard times. But boxing, people say, oh, fighters come from the gutter. I don't like that terminology. Fighters come from humble beginnings, and
Sure.
that's what makes them hungry
Right.
to excel in the sport and to make a better life for themselves, and their future families. And I love the sport because it has given so many young men and now women opportunities to make a better life for themselves. And that's what it's all about. We've got to try and make the best possible life we can while we're here on this earth. Because
Right.
eventually, if you behave yourself here and conduct yourself properly, you will go to heaven. I pray every day, Derek. I
Yes.
believe in the power of prayer. I believe God made the world. You can call him God, you can call him Allah, call him Buddha. As long as you worship and respect and conduct yourself the best you can possibly be and embrace others and people less fortunate than yourself, try and help them.
Very
Don't
true.
ignore them. Try and help people because that's what we're here for. First, to try and help ourselves, but then to help others, and don't be selfish. Try to help as many people as you possibly can through this
Very
journey of life, because eventually how you conduct yourself here will get you into heaven. And I
and
believe people say to me, oh, I don't believe. And I say, well, do you know when something happens that's bad, what's the first thing you say? God help me.
exactly.
So there you
Exactly.
go. You have
Right.
to believe. You have to believe. I pray every day and I believe in the power of prayer. And in India, there's some wonderful religions in India.
Yes.
The Hindu religion is the oldest religion in the world.
Yes.
And then you've got Catholicism in India, you've got Sikhism in India, you've got Muslims in India, you've got all types of religions in India. And the people get on well and help each other. The Indians are a wonderful race of people, and I'm not saying that because I am on the interview with an Indian man in India. The Indian people are a wonderful race of people, the biggest population in the world, and
Right.
yet such a caring nation, such a caring nation. And I admire the Indian people and what they've done for themselves and what they've done in the medicine world in particular. Because, like I said, I've worked for Ambi now for 10 years and I've seen what the Indian people have done for medicines around the world, you
True.
know, and they've done a lot in other walks of life as well, but in medicines in particular. And medicines is such an important thing because no one wants to see anybody suffer. If you can develop and create and invent a medicine that stops somebody suffering and improves their health, that's a wonderful thing. And the Indian people have done that. They've invented and created wonderful medicines that have helped cure people around the world. So I take
Very
my hat
much.
off the Indian nation. And I'm very proud to say I've got a lot of Indian
And,
friends.
and Joe, you know something? Today is such a blessed day. By default, we never looked at the date when we thought we would be having our conversation today. Today is the Feast of the Holy Cross, and
Okay.
I came to know today from my colleagues. They say, Derek, today is the Feast of the Holy Cross. What a blessed day to have conversation with Joe. I said, yeah, buddy, that's, this all, we are just being led. We are just being led on this beautiful journey. And it feels so connected, so beautifully connected to each other, and globally as well with the viewers out
It
there.
was it was lovely. It was lovely to meet you when I was in India, Derek. It was lovely to become your friend. We've got a friendship now that will stand the test of time. Anything at all I can ever do for you or your
Sure,
family
sure,
or your friends, I'll be proud to do it. And I'm enjoying when I do interviews, Derek. I travel down memory lane,
sure.
talking about Mike Tyson, talking about the films, talking about my trips to India. When I was in India
About
the
uh,
last time, I went to Nepal. Where have I
that,
gone? I've gone.
right.
Oh, there's something photo.
You see,
Hold on
when you
there.
had come down when we were together at home during Christmas. So let
Oh,
me
that
share.
was with Robin Reed. That was me, you, and Robin
Yeah,
Reed at your home.
yeah,
Yes,
Robin leads with us.
yes, the former three-time champion of the world, Olympic
Yeah,
bronze medalist and World Championship silver medalist.
right.
That was yeah, it was a wonderful day. I
Yeah,
remember the lovely food. I remember the lovely food we had in your home as well, Derek. By looking at the size of me, I enjoy
yeah,
my food. I do enjoy my food. I've got a good appetite. I don't drink alcohol. I'm an Irish man that doesn't drink
yeah.
alcohol. People say, "What sort of an Irishman are you?" And I says, "My dad says I'm a failure as an Irishman because the Irish have such a reputation as drinkers, and I don't
Right.
drink alcohol. The Irish drink. There's a lot of my dad has drank with a lot of Sikhs. He has
Okay.
had some great drinking sessions with the Sikhs. And I know they've got a great tradition of drinking. I know they like their whiskey, and my dad has drank whiskey with a lot of Sikhs
Right.
over the years. But
No,
I've been very fortunate in life. I've had an amazing life, and sometimes I think it can't get any better, and then suddenly it does, Derek. Wonderful things happen. The
right.
success of my book has been amazing. It has opened so many doors. The book is sold all over the world, and I get emails from all over the world. And I've recently signed the rights for my book to be a film, which would be so amazing to be able to have a movie made about my life, to walk a red carpet at a premiere, holding my
Wow.
mother, holding my mother's hand, to walk that red
Blessing.
carpet with my mum. It's very surreal, to tell you the truth, Derek, to think that these wonderful things, to have a book written about me was so amazing. And now they're talking about a movie to be made about
Right.
my life, and even to be in the movies. My life is very, it's surreal, and the wonderful things that are happening. It's made all the beatings that I took so worthwhile, because I took some savage beatings of Mike Tyson, of Lennox Lewis, some savage beatings of the bullies when I was a child. Different things have helped shape me into the man I am today, and to
Very
shape my
true.
life into the way it is today. And I've been very fortunate in life, and I like to help people. You know,
Same here, Joe. We are on the same page and so blessed, so blessed to be on the same side of life. And Parag, well, Parag, Ambe Medical. Hi, Parag. Thank you for the message, and we love you so much.
loads of messages coming. Thank everybody. Thank everybody for tuning in and to listening to what I have to say. And I hope maybe when I'm over in India in the very near future, if I'm at any event, please come and introduce yourself and let me know that you listen to this interview, and just be nice to me. I love meeting people. I've always been a people's person, Derek. I've always enjoyed meeting people all over the world. I've been all over the world, and I've met people all shapes, all sizes, all colours, all denominations, and I've always got on well with people. I pride myself, my manners. I conduct myself well. I don't just want to be an ambassador for boxing, because boxing doesn't just need great fighters; it needs
Right.
great ambassadors. So I want to be an ambassador for boxing. I want to be an ambassador for Ireland. I want to be an ambassador for my family, and I want to make a good impression on people. I just. Oh, hang on. What's happening? Cancel here. I'm
Yeah.
still conducting myself the best I can possibly be, and that's all that we can do, is to be the best we can possibly be. Pride ourselves on our
Right.
manners, carry ourselves well, and like I said earlier on in the interview, respect yourself and respect others. Anything you want
And
to
Joe.
ask me, Derek? I keep chatting. You ask me anything you want to ask me.
Well, Joe, more than me asking you, we have viewers sending questions, and one important question for you here is: how was your experience working with Shah Rukh Khan?
It was amazing, absolutely amazing. He was such a lovely man. I've been over to India a good few times to visit, and I went to Shah Rukh Khan's house on two occasions. But on both occasions, he wasn't home. But I spoke to his staff at his home, and I left a boxing memento at his home.
Right.
I hope the both times I visited, he was in Dubai, and I hope to work with him again. He is one of the biggest stars in the world. He has a 3 billion fan base. And when I was in London filming with him, he was so
Yeah.
humble and so nice. And I had friends of mine come down and meet him. My lawyer came
Yeah.
down to meet him. Mohammed Hussein, he came down to meet him. And it was a lovely feeling. I've said to my American friends, I've worked with Robert Downey Jr. They went, oh, that's very nice. I've said to my
Right.
English friends, I've worked with Ray Winston. They went, oh, that's very nice. I've said to my Asian friends, I worked with Shah Rukh Khan. Oh my God, he's a superstar. The reaction that people, Asian people, give when I
Right.
mention his name that I've worked with him, it's a different reaction than any other star that I mentioned that I've worked with. He is probably one of the biggest stars in the world, and
Right.
yet he was so
Yeah.
humble. When we were filming in London, there was thousands and thousands of people there to see him. And I said to the bodyguards, I said, they're earning your money today. And they went, Joe, this is nothing. When we go home to India, that's when
Yeah.
our work begins. And to close off sections of the airport for him to walk through. And any one time outside his home, thousands of fans outside
Yeah.
his home. And he has staff greeting his fans. That is the nature of the man. He has staff to thank his fans for coming, to making a pilgrimage to his home.
Right.
That he really appreciates that, because it's the fans that have put him where he is today, and he hasn't forgot his fans. And that is so lovely to see, that he still has all the time in the world, even being one of the biggest stars in the world. He still has all
Right.
the time in the world for his fans, and I love that. I love that in the man, and I hope one day I get to work with him again. You know,
I'm
and
sure you
with
will.
and Jackie Shroff. You know, I really enjoyed doing the Bollywood films. You know, but Shah Rukh Khan in particular was
It was
was
some.
great, because
Yeah.
he was the first one that I worked with, and he has that memory of being the first Indian superstar that I worked with. Satinder Sartaaj second, and Jackie Shroff second, and I still have the same affection for both of them that I have for Shah Rukh Khan. But Shah Rukh Khan being the first, he has a different memory.
Very true. Very
But I
true.
hope, like I say, I hope I get to work with him again.
I'm sure you will, Joe. I'm very, very sure because
Fingers
uh,
crossed. Fingers crossed.
yes, last time we missed out, and all this pandemic thing came in, and as I told you, some projects were coming up with children film. So
Yes.
once these things open up, let's see how things go back. How it all opens up all over again. I'm sure they will.
Hopefully we get through 2020, and
Right.
and and there's no more suffering and no more
Yeah.
loss of life
Right.
to this COVID. And in 2021 will be a better year for us all.
Yeah.
You know, please God, 2021 will be a better year for us all.
It's been a
You know,
big loss.
2020 has been a bit of a bad time. There's been a number of lives lost, and tragically, sadly, it's still there. We're not past it yet, but hopefully soon we beat this COVID.
Right. Joe, I would love you to give a message to all the youngsters and the viewers out there. Make a big difference, a message coming from the toughest white man on the planet, Joe Egan.
Well, if there's anything at all that I can say to the people watching, thank you for watching. I wish you all the very best in whatever path you choose in life. I wish you happiness. I wish you health, and most of all, I wish you peace, because we should live in a peaceful world. We are all here as guests of God, to understand, and we should be all here in harmony. We should all be here in peace. And I believe we've got it in Ireland now. We had war in Ireland for hundreds of years, and we had a lot of loss of life for hundreds of
Right.
years in Ireland. And now we have peace in Ireland, and please God, that peace continues. But I wish the rest of the world peace and happiness. God bless everyone listening, and God bless you, Derek.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. And viewers, I would sum it up in just two words: be humble, be peaceful, and love yourself along with everybody around you. And Joe, I love you, my dear friend,
Same
my
here.
pal.
Muhammad
And
Ali. Muhammad Ali, Derek, one of the greatest men
yeah,
to enter probably the greatest man to ever enter a boxing ring, and one
yes,
of the
of course.
greatest men to enter this world. Boxing was privileged to have him. Muhammad Ali once said, I wish people could love each other as much as they love me. And that was a wonderful statement from Muhammad Ali.
Right,
I wish
right.
people love each other as much as they love me. And I
Yes,
wish people would embrace each other and have affection for each other and help each other however they can.
thank you so much, Joe. My love and respect to you, your family, and all our friends out there with you.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you for your
God
time.
bless you,
God,
pal. And I'll see you the next time I'm in India.
sure, you're welcome, and we'll stay connected.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you.